All right, guys, so it's been a minute, and I'm finally back in the flesh here with the one and only Douglas Jerum, and I've been waiting for this time to actually get together and talk a little bit about what we've been doing both separately and then together, and kind of pre-pandemic, during the pandemic, and what I'd like to maybe think we're in the post-pandemic or right on the cusp of.
Today might be the pivotal day, as a matter of fact.
It might be.
Did you catch that? My price still going up like NASDAQ. We send shots, make them duck like Affleck. All this fake news, can we bring the facts back? Never backtrack, still on the up and up. And nobody catching up to us. Every time we double down, then we double up. So if we keep winning, can you really call it luck?
For most of my career, I owned my own company. It was Ferrara Jerum International, and we sold that about 3 years ago now. And so that kind of carries us forward towards the later years. Started really formalizing national advisory business. I called it something a little bit different, but really the same thing as what we're doing here at Sabre. And then as we got to the pandemic, I was looking for the next thing and the next way to elevate my game and step up on the next step on the stage.
I'm asked the question a lot. You talk a lot about using social media and digital marketing.
Mm-hmm.
People argue that you could still be very successful in the business without adopting like the newer ways of doing it. And I think it's funny because when I talk about it, people almost hear that I'm saying they have to like stop doing it the old way and start doing it the new way. And that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying everybody should really do what they've done and has made them successful in their business and keep doing that. But they should also be kind of like sprinkling in some of the new stuff. And I think it's both, really more so than like one or the other.
Would you call it leverage? That you can give yourself leverage.
Yeah, of
so
course.
if you've been in the business 20 years and you've got an incredible network of people that and I was just listening to Mark here in the office this morning, and he's in and he's styling, right?
Yeah.
He's still on the phone, and like that's working for him. And there's.
But by the way, like if you just use social media and you're not picking up the phone, you're not in business. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, it's like it is awareness, it's eyeballs, it's the marketing branding side of it. You have to also be on the sales side of it, right?
If you only market and you don't sell anything, you'll still be out of business.
That's exactly right.
More people will know it because you're visible, but you'll still be out of business. So
that's
a great point, right? And so it's not to lose sight of. And I think people, especially somebody that is newer, they have to be careful. Like you need to budget the appropriate amount of time to your marketing and social media, because at the end of the day you have to run your business and you have to have clients and you have to do the work.
Yeah.
And the work is not just this.
Yeah.
The work is all the other stuff.
Absolutely. And we're pressed for time here because Doug's running to a meeting, and I have to jump back into doing business. And I think it's funny because some of the world who doesn't know me per se will ask questions about like, well, you spend so much time on social media, like, are you doing any business? And it's funny because, and we were talking about this at dinner yesterday, like, you won't even see me take out my phone. You will. You have a keen eye. You can pay attention to it, but everybody else at the table didn't realize they even picked up my phone and recorded a few things and whatnot. So it becomes kind of like just part of the process. It's seamless. It's like I don't even have to think about it. But at the end of the day, the main priorities for me, like right now, that I have to do before I leave, and am done with my day, are very much, servicing our clients and, making sure that I'm allocating the right amount of time to the team and so on and so forth. Without that, we're out of business. So, it goes back to the...
Well, and you've really perfected, the technique of sort of just integrating, content creation into your life. I mean, you are, a lot more advanced in in that integration. And I think it's something to aspire to, because truly, it's really just seamless in through your day, because you've gotten into this habit of, and it's also your mindset. You have more of a an impromptu content creation mindset, because you're now thinking that way sort of all the time. That's not to, some people probably will never get to that, and they'll always need to plan.
Like, again, the quality of the content to me doesn't really matter as much. It's just staying top of mind, right? Because I look at it as I'm creating a web that people ultimately will kind of, happen upon during the many, many conversations that I'm having in a week. And whether they discover me on a panel discussion and then LinkedIn, and that drives them to YouTube and to Instagram and to all of the other platforms, ultimately maybe a Clubhouse, which has been very, I think, just super powerful, man. Clubhouse is like, Sierra in Ohio and Morgan in Texas are at Sabre because of Clubhouse.
Right.
That's a fact. And then, a big part of us joining the EXP platform is Clubhouse driven. And it's the same way that Glenn Sanford, the founder of EXP, and Grant Cardone met, and it's interesting because, I, like so many other people, have so many different opinions of Grant Cardone, and it's like, but at the end of the day, you cannot deny that the man is like a marketing genius, right?
100%.
So he's way more controversial, which is intentional, and that's his style.
That's his personality.
Exactly.
Persona, yeah.
Anybody who's willing to say that they are going bankrupt when they have like hundreds of millions of dollars of their investors' money just to get attention during a global pandemic, is just an interesting human at a minimum. But he stopped the presses, on that day when he announced that, and that was the intention. Very similar to Billie Jean's marketing. I pay attention to people that are doing things. Again, not necessarily that I would follow or adopt in my own business, but just paying attention. I've always been interested in guerrilla marketing and, the concept of, no press is bad press, right, and things of that nature. I think it kind of, goes down that. But, the EXP thing, we don't have that much time to get into, but I will say that the partnership for us spawned as a result of the struggle I had when I got into the business of not having health insurance, being on the commission hamster wheel, which a lot of us that are even in the business a long time that have really big accounts and clients, find ourselves constantly being super transactional in order to live and get to the next step in our career, and the fact that you're able to earn stock in a $6 billion company by hitting milestones or hitting a $500,000 a year gross GCI basically, and then earn up to $20,000 in stock. If I joined EXP 10 years ago and earned $20,000 in stock for the last 10 years, I'd be worth a lot more money than I am right now.
Yeah,
you can't argue
sure.
that.
You're worth millions, actually. Yeah,
millions. So, it's powerful. And I think that that's what I'm so excited about with where the industry is right now, because I think, having gone through such disruption with the pandemic, I think it forced a lot of people, including ourselves, to reflect and think about what's best for us and how we can help have a positive impact on people and give them an opportunity to do things differently. But we're sticking our neck out every day.
Yeah, I think that the EXP, I think, is probably it's easy to misunderstand it, and it's also there. It's not the same. It's not the same thing to everybody. So we're at EXP for as a platform, and the tools that are there. You had mentioned things like health insurance, and the opportunity to to take our revenue stream and produce some stock out of that, but also just the tools, and one of the things that I think has we were aware that it would be a positive thing for a virtual company like Sabre has become, but I think we all underestimated how good just in a short time, the world, as we'll refer to it, the EXP virtual world, which is built on something called Verbella, just really how amazing it is. And as anybody that's heard me talk about anything, as I said, love technology. Usually will use things well before they're actually practical. Often to my own detriment, but I love that stuff. And so, I had an awareness of virtual worlds and using avatars in virtual spaces to bring people together, but had not really had the opportunity to do more than demo it in some different places. And we've now had, I guess, a few weeks in this virtual world. So we have a Sabre office that's in the cloud. It's a place, is a three-dimensional, video game-like place. Everybody has an avatar, which you customize. We're still on the feature request, waiting for the tattoo feature. So the avatars are not totally.
And you can't have two hair colors.
Yeah.
So
there's a little work to do, but it's still pretty good.
What's interesting about what you said is, like, I had like the Sabre Go concept, right? When we relaunched our new website, probably, I don't know, a year and a half ago, let's say. Sabre Go was already a thing, and I was planning to build a very similar, platform.
The idea was generally the same idea, just the tool was missing.
Correct. And the way to actually, it's basically allowing us to really pour gasoline on what we were doing already. But in addition to that, being the CEO of a company and paying attention to overhead and, and expenses and fixed costs and things of that nature, for me, the pandemic was such an amazing excuse to do things I wanted to do, like reduce square footage of office space. And, and so the minute that, we had the opportunity and it wasn't so taboo, oh, you downsized your office? I was like, yes, we downsized our office. And guess what? We're getting a virtual office and we can do these things now. And
now you're a pioneer. You're not in trouble, right?
Exactly. But listen, everybody knows me enough to know that I'm putting that stuff out in the universe, on camera, and having meaningful discussions with so many people who own their business and are like, Jay, I want to know your strategy on office space. What are you doing, and so on and so forth. And I think that with tools like Verbella, by the way, which I thought was super gimmicky when I first went through it and talked about it, and now it's honestly, the fact that you could have spontaneous, meaningful conversations with people, and everybody last night was kind of laughing at, nobody picks up the phone and, calls me and just says, hey, what's up? How you doing? Because typically I don't chit-chat. I don't shoot the shit with people because I have so much to do within a given hour, every hour of the day, essentially. So, but in the virtual world, it's we could hang out and laugh and do stupid shit and play pranks on each other, and all that stuff is so fun. Totally. It's crazy. It really is.
It replaced, that opportunity to, you were just saying about the phone call, we talked about it. You wouldn't call up and say, hey Doug, what's up? Nothing. Great. Later. I would think you hit your head on something. I mean,
exactly.
You just don't communicate that
you wouldn't
way.
Slack it either. Hey, what's this?
Yeah. But if I was here and pop my head in, hey, what's up? How you doing? Good. All right. And then you keep going.
Yeah.
That's what this replaces.
That's right.
Those interactions. But those interactions are meaningful. Lots of little ones like that.
Very. Or
just being able to spend 3 or 4 minutes with everybody. We had 8 or 9 people just in somebody's office, just goofing around.
Yep.
And
or kicking around ideas, just brainstorming.
And that's what that leads to. I think is that okay? Now you see how you can have these spontaneous, pulling people together, and now you can start using that that power for good and not just mischief and really do things that are productive. As because it takes a little bit of time to get used to it. It's like anything else. You have to spend a little time and kind of figure it out. It takes a couple of days to sort of settle in, but once you do, then you can really see sort of all the opportunities. And more we're getting off of Zoom. It's also and I know this is a big thing for you.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a really good hybrid between phone and Zoom. You're physically represented. You have this idea of being in the same place, but the camera's not on.
Yeah,
and,
exactly. Which gets exhausting.
That feels pretty good right now. Yeah,
it feels good, and you're able to multitask a lot more than you can when you're on camera. Which honestly, if I spend half my day on Zoom, the things that I would be able to accomplish on a conference call during a conference call versus a Zoom, I can't accomplish. So now I have to spend more time, at the end of the day, catching up on things and whatnot. Well, listen, I was very excited for this moment to happen. I'm glad we got to spend some time together, and we'll get to spend a lot more time together in person now that we're on the other side of this thing here.
And today is the big unmasking in New York. So
look at this.
It's kind of a milestone.
How apropos.
Day. 100%, and looking forward to a little more facial freedom.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys. Thanks for checking it out. I hope you got some value out of this. Reach out to Doug or myself to chat more on these topics and all things commercial real estate.
See you in the world.
Yeah, well, hope so.
Fake news, can we bring the facts back? Never backtrack, still on the up and up. And nobody catching up to us. Every time we double down, then we double up.